Okay, let's dive into my TD Ameritrade account for this month. It's been at least 3 months since I've done an update video on all the holdings. I've made a couple changes since then, and I wanted to share that with you. So let's get into it. Right now, I only have 3 total holdings in my brokerage account. I've got 403 shares of Mo, average buy price of $43.83. Paramount, 1,210 shares, average price of $30.11. And TGTX, my spec bet, 325 shares of that. As you can see, just like so many people's accounts right now, I am definitely down for this year. There's no sugarcoating here. You know, it just is what it is. But when I do put things into perspective and consider some of the biggest stocks in the world have been just annihilated this year, Facebook being down more than 50%, Netflix being down more than 50%, I'm not invested in crypto at all. At the very least, I feel like I'm not getting obliterated as badly as many investors out there in 2022. So, you know, silver lining, I guess. But here's my game plan moving forward into the next couple of months with stocks. As an overall strategy, I plan to continue slowly buying more Paramount, more Altria or MO in August and September. Both of these, of course, are dividend paying stocks that I intend to hold for long-term, years into the future. I'm also starting to get curious about a few other companies like Starbucks. This one might have gotten away from me a little bit since the price of the stock went up quite a bit. Honest Company, Shopify, those have all gotten crushed this year. I think that they're interesting to look at, but overall, I will really just plan on continuing to buy companies that bring in a lot of cash, provide a quarterly dividend. I like getting paid every 3 months for holding on to a stock, so that's just kind of the strategy that I'm using. I think I'm probably bumping into the same issue as a lot of you watching this right now. I want to continue buying into good companies that pay dividends, that are going to be around for a long time when they're at a discount, but I also want to retain a solid amount of cash on the sidelines that I can deploy if there's further declines, a recession, a black swan event, whatever happens. I just want to keep a cash cushion available for that. Okay, now, as I mentioned at the top, I also made some changes to my holdings. I sold one of my holdings for a massive profit, and I sold another one at a massive loss, so everything kind of evens out, but let's take a look at that. First, let's start with the good news. I sold the fertilizer company Mosaic at a gain of 271% since I purchased it. Literally the week right before the Rona crash in early 2020, just held on to it. I ended up selling MOS. This was at an average price of $64.69 per share. I originally bought this stock for around $17.50. What's the reason for my sale? Basically, the company really ran up this year due to fertilizer shortages, increased prices that farmers needed to pay for the fertilizers, that increased profits. My thought in selling the stock is that, I mean, fertilizer is a commodity. There's always these time periods where different commodities like grain, soybeans, flowers, whatever it's going to be, they're going to spike way up in price for this limited amount of time, and then they kind of come back down to earth as more of that specific commodity gets produced and put out on the market. Also, it's not like Mosaic is a software company and it can just produce unlimited amounts of product to satisfy demand out there. You know, there's a limited amount that they can sell. There's a limited amount of revenue that they can make from it because there's only so much fertilizer out there. I will say too, based on the price action the last couple months, I'm glad that I decided to sell when I did. Obviously, nobody can time the tops on these things. After I sold it, the stock actually went all the way up to $77 a share, but then proceeded to drop down to about $45. And right now, as I record this video, it's sitting around 52, you know, in the low 50s. Overall, just to put a pin on this, I wish I would have bought more of this stock. When I did, obviously, this was the second stock I think I ever purchased in my TD Ameritrade account back in 2020. And I was definitely still feeling things out at the time, but hey, a win is a win. I'm happy to be able to sell some stock at a profit during a tough 2022. Now on the flip side, next up, the dog of my portfolio, Curate Retail. This is a retail play. The company owns Home Shopping Network, QVC. They own some different e-commerce brands too. This is one of those companies that I look back at and I say, like, why did I ever even invest in this? What exactly did I even see in terms of growth prospects with this company? I have no clue. I own 600 shares. And fortunately didn't ever buy the dip on this one, because if I did, I would have just gotten crushed even more on Curate. This stock lost 67% of its value while I was holding it. I'm glad I did sell when I did too, because the stock has only continued to decline further since I sold it in June 2022. How low can you go, Curate? How low can you go? I guess we'll find out soon enough. I will say the loss isn't quite as bad as it looks on paper here, because the company did distribute a one-time dividend payment to shareholders. I think it was in an effort to stop the decline in share prices actually, but this probably put another $1,200 into my pocket. But at the end of the day, this is one of those holdings I just want to forget about it. I'm happy to get out of my account so I just don't have to look at it anymore. All that being said, YouTube, let me know what you think of my current holdings. I'm not a professional trader, clearly here. This is not financial advice. I'm trying to build a portfolio with good companies that will provide me with dividend payments for years to come. And I'm just sharing with you what I'm doing right now and what I'm thinking. So let me know what you think in the comments. Bye-bye now.